Hello my friends, HM here. I have some exciting news from the Ukraine-Russian war. It appears that Ukraine has finally started to use their F16 fighter jets that they have been long promised, and that they have managed to blow up a big Russian landing ship and also down 5 Russian fighter aircrafts. But let's talk about it. Before we start, I should apologize. I haven't published many videos on this channel for almost 3 months. Because I spent some time starting up another channel talking about completely different things. It's a cooking channel where I go into my passion for making food. And I wanted to do that channel, and it's running now. I made 10 videos on that channel. But don't worry, I'll be doing lots of new videos on my main channel here. Okay, but let's jump right into it. I'm here on my Reddit channel, and there's a really good video I found about the main story here for this video, and that is the landing ship that has been blown up in Crimea, Feodasia. And let's watch this video. And it has some details that other videos I've seen on YouTube has not gotten. So let's blow this up and play it.
В смысле, сейчас не потушить, оно так.
They're standing there in their underwear, but there are no identification of people here, so I think we can show it without a YouTube violation of any rules. As you can see, it's a massive explosion, but what I want to show you, I want to play it again. Take a look, there's just a fire burning here, and then it explodes. So what should be noted here was that there was a fire burning and then something detonated inside the ship. So obviously not only did Ukraine hit a big landing ship, but apparently it was filled with some sort of ammunition that blew up. Also I found a picture about the aftermath of this. Let me find it for you. Here we have it. Let me blow this up a little bit so you can see it better. This is how this ship looked like. When it was new, then it got hit, and this down here, it doesn't look at all like a ship, but it is actually the remains of this ship. It is sunk into the water. Here we can see a little bit of the bridge, which is this part up here, and it's totally obliterated. Scrap metal, that's the only value for this thing here. So it got really well destroyed, and also the cargo got destroyed. So a big plus for Ukraine today. Why do I think that it was F16 attack? Because Russia say it was attacked by Ukraine aircraft that launched missiles that destroyed this boat. Actually, Russia said it was only damaged, but their definition of damage is apparently this twisted metal that is down here. I think that's quite hilarious that they just say, well, it got damaged. It got obliterated. And Russians say it was fighter jets from Ukraine. Now, I think this is super interesting, and I actually believe the Russians are talking the truth here. Russia must know what killed this ship. Certainly, if it was fighter jets, they must have seen these fighter jets on some radars, or they must have had visual confirmation from some people on the ground that saw jets coming through the sky. There's no way that Ukraine could have sent fighter jets to this place in Crimea and then not being discovered. There are other sources that says this was storm shadows because it has been storm shadows before, but I don't think Ukraine has not got a lot of storm shadows. They got only a few of them. They have to conserve them. But if they got a few F-15 operational, I think they have got about 4 or 6. They can do stuff that the old Soviet-era MiG airplanes from Ukraine simply cannot do. If Ukraine had used their MiG airplanes, they would have been shot down by Russian air defenses because they're old, they fly slow, and they're not as capable as the F-16s to avoid Russian air defenses. And Ukraine have never attacked with their MiG airplanes over Crimea. That would be a suicide mission for those air pilots, but not if you have F-15 fighter jets. What they can do is they can fly low, below the radar, and they can also fly a lot faster. And another thing is they have electronic jamming on board that Ukraine's old Soviet airplanes do not have. So they can jam the signal and thereby avoid being shot down by Russian air defenses. And also they have all kinds of missiles from NATO that they can be equipped with and armed with that could have been the missiles that were fired at the end against this ship. So let's take a look at where this attack happened. It happened here. Here we have Crimea, and it happened in this city here, Feodosia, which is a harbor that houses apparently some Russian naval ships. Where do I think this attack came from? Let me find a deep state map. It happened down there. Feodosia is down here. I think Ukraine could have flown some F16 fighter jets over this territory here. There's not a lot of Russian air defenses here because there's no front line along this piece. So Russia doesn't have a lot of fighting going on here. There's no reason to put air defenses up. They could have gone below the radar here and then gone in here and then over the Black Sea here, or what is called this sea here. It has a special name. I've forgotten it right now. They could have launched some missiles that would have taken it the final road to this ship and destroyed it, and then simply turned around and gone below the radar back here. That's how I think this attack happened. And also, why do I think that these F-16s are indeed in Ukraine? Because 3 other attacks has happened that has downed Russian airplanes. And we have this map here. One attack happened a few days ago where 3 Russian fighter jets that were on a mission to drop gliding bombs that are dropped 50 kilometers behind enemy lines from high above, actually almost 20 kilometers above. They fly high up, and then they drop them at the maximum speed so they can glide for 50 kilometers and hit the Ukrainians with some really heavy bombs that are like 1 ton or 2 ton gliding bombs that are hitting Ukrainian troops. They are not that accurate, but if you have a bomb that's that powerful, they don't have to be accurate. So Russia has actually had quite a lot of success using these gliding bombs that they have managed to get up in production. So they're producing a lot more of them, and they're hammering Ukrainian front lines with these gliding bombs. And because they are launching them from 50 kilometers behind enemy lines, Ukraine has not had any defenses against them. They just take the beating from them, but it appears they have some defenses against them now, because these 3 airplanes that were about to drop these gliding bombs, they all got shot down before they launched these gliding bombs. And Russia again at that attack said it was Ukraine fighter jets who shot them down. Now, in the media, it has been said that, okay, Ukraine perhaps moved a Patriot battery system in there that have the range to shoot them down. But I don't buy that explanation. First of all, the Russians say they were shot down by fighter jets launching some long-range air defense missile systems, and Russia must know what shot them down. Also, one of the crews survived. They ejected and survived, and they could have told what kind of thing that hit them, and also what kind of radar signal that they observed they were targeted with, so they know if it was Patriot missiles that came in. Because that's the only other thing that could have hit them. Because it's the only one that has the range to go 50 kilometers behind enemy lines and shoot down on Russian airplanes. The other thing why I think it's not a Patriot battery is that Ukraine has only received, I think they have received only 2 batteries with these Patriot defense systems, and maybe a third one from Germany has also been delivered and is operational. But Ukraine desperately need the Patriot systems to protect their capital, so that their political leadership and military leadership is not obliterated in a Russian air attack. That is highest priority. And also of highest priority is that they protect their industrial military complex in Ukraine, so they can produce arms to keep this war going in Ukraine. They are also protected with Patriot air defense systems. They cannot afford to use Patriot air defense systems on the front lines, where also they will be more at risk from being destroyed by Russian glider bombs and also drones that are flown in large numbers. They simply cannot risk losing their best air defense system on that. Maybe, but still maybe, I'm not certain, I don't have inside information here. It could be that, say, the 3rd Patriot air defense system that was delivered to Ukraine is operational, and they only occasionally drove near the front line and launched these missiles in a surprise attack. It could be, but I'd say it's more likely that it's F-16 fighter jets that did this. Also because what also happened was that a few days after these 3 Russian jets were downed, the same thing happened up here. It's like 400 kilometers over here just 2 days after, a Russian aircraft that was dropping some glider bomb was also shot down. How would they move that one Patriot system in 1.5 days and set up here and also prepare for that mission? They certainly do not have a fourth Patriot battery system in operation that they also could have done this with here. And then the fifth aircraft that was shot down in the Black Sea, which is somewhere out here. There's no Patriot system that could have shot that down. It's simply not within range. And it's another geographic location. I say it's an F16 that saw this Russian airplane coming, and they sent an F16 up, flying low under the Russian radar. Russia doesn't have really a lot of radar things here. And then they fire a long-range air-to-air missile to down this Russian aircraft. So my conclusion is, yes, we have entered a new phase where Ukraine has finally got the first 4 or 6 F-16 fighter jets operational, and it has already created panic among Russian military bloggers, and Russian propaganda is spewing all kind of nonsense that they have already destroyed 6 F-15 fighter jets. Of course they haven't. But they're saying it in order to boost morale because they're losing so many people every day and they're being killed in large numbers, and they have to spew out some nonsense to keep the people happy with lies about their victories that they don't have over Ukraine. I think Ukraine has got those fighter jets and many more are coming. Denmark, my country, has promised 18 fighter jets, and we are training them as we speak. Fighter pilots that can man these airplanes. And also the Netherlands have promised 19 fighter jets, and Norway, my brother country, have also promised 10 F-16 fighter jets. Other countries are helping with training of pilots. Among those, United States, who has like 500 or 1,000 F-16 fighter jets that they could in principle give Ukraine because they're being phased out right now with the more modern F-35 fighter. For the US Army. The same here in Denmark. We are getting F-35 fighter jets, and basically we have a lot of F-16. I think we have 35 of them, and I'm sure that Ukraine will get all of them. As soon as we get our F-35 here for Denmark for our own protection, then we will basically give Ukraine all of our F-16 fighter jets and also a lot of ammunition that goes with them. But I'm very optimistic now that Ukraine now have a new weapon that can finally stop those glider bomb attack that Russia has carried out very successfully, killing a lot of Ukrainians at the front lines. And finally, there's a response to that. I can also say that these F-16 fighter jets, they have other nice features. They can see at night. All the jets that Ukraine have, they can't see anything at night. They are Soviet-era airplanes, and they are really old-fashioned, and they are no match for doing a modern war, really. But those F-16, they were made for killing Russians and Russian airplanes and killing Russians. They are exactly the airplane that Ukraine need. Hopefully, we will get about 40 to 60 of these F-16 airplanes up and running with Ukrainian crews by the end of next year. And hopefully we continue to train more and more Ukrainian pilots. So in 3 years, they might have 300 to 600 F-16 fighter planes. Then Ukraine will have an air force that's far more powerful than anything Russia has. And then they will get air superiority, and they can shoot down everything that Russia throw at them. And they will also have long-range capacity to basically destroy Russian air bases everywhere. That will change the war. And also these F-16 fighter jets can also be used to shoot down Shahed drones. But I think I will make another video about that, how that changes the game of this war for Ukraine. Anyway, I thank you for watching my video to the end here. And I wish you a fulfilling life in democracy and freedom. Goodbye.